Hello and welcome to Game Design Lab. I am Kat Kruger. My pronouns are she, her, and I am a freelance narrative game designer and author. I've worked on a number of board games and D&D adventures. And yeah, we're doing a lot of game design lately on Wednesdays. Hi, Andy. Um, this came out of streaming on solo RPGs on Mondays, which I do at 10 Pacific, and chat has been amazing at coming up with lots of um, lots of really inspired design elements, I think, whether it's helping with locations or creatures or names. And I thought it would be really nice to just break this out into a game design lab on specifically on Wednesdays. So far, we've designed a NPC named Dahlia Stonefell, who's a goblin artificer. And then we decided we were going to make a location for this artificer, and that was called the Trash Pit. And in the Trash Pit, we created a monster with some monster lore. And I thought that it would be interesting to actually do some um, stat block work, specifically for D&D 5e, which is mostly what I've worked in. Um, and I'm just gonna go into my other screen here to share what's on my iPad here, just to show some of the work I've done before we dive into our creature here. So here we go. This is one of a bunch of the creatures that I've designed for MCDM's Arcadia magazine, which unfortunately came to an end this summer. But I created these monsters of Wonderland, which I love Alice in Wonderland, and so I was really excited to be able to create monsters and lore and stat blocks based on these creatures. So I made a Bandersnatch. Um, the terrible claws thing inspired me to make putrefying claws. The artwork is incredible on this. Um, I made a hag moth based on the caterpillar. So it's got two forms. It's got the moth form and the caterpillar form. Lots of like hallucinogenic sort of effects here. Um, the mome wraith, which is basically a shark pig. Um, and then the snark, which obviously does not have an image because it is a creature that sort of doesn't have a shape. And this was an interesting design challenge, I think, because it doesn't really have a shape. It's a curious creature from Lewis Carroll's mind. Anyway, so those are some of the creatures that I've designed. I pulled that one up in particular because I think that what we're designing right now kind of falls into that weird category of creatures. We are designing a Jubili um, Cryptimander, and a Jubili Cryptimander is salamander, so tiny, tiny little salamander. It has camouflage ability, and some of the things that we determined in the last game design session, which was a couple weeks ago, we came up with the Jubilee name because I it was like a word brainstorm here. It started off because the mushrooms in the cave are the thing that yeah, absolutely, wordplay. So the mushrooms in the cave are the thing that have affected these cryptomanders. And one of the things that was determined was that the mushrooms would have like some sort of euphoric effect, and that would be one of the cryptomander's abilities. So then I went into a thesaurus and just looked up words related to euphoric and came up with jubilation. And then there was someone in chat who, and I think I said Jubilee, Jubili Cryptimander, and somebody in chat um, spelled it different, and it was Jubilee plus fungi, and put the words together, and it was brilliant. I loved it. And so we have a Jubilee Cryptimander, Jubili. Um, yeah, so good. So yeah, we have this Jubilee Cryptimander, and I am going to go through the process of taking all the lore. Um, oh yeah, uh, taking all the lore and that we developed a couple weeks ago and creating an actual 5e stat block. So I think the thing that I'm going to do here is approach it from a very basic. You've never designed a stat block before. I think that's probably going to be the most helpful thing um, for people who are learning how to design a monster stat block. Oh, hello, Julie. Oh, it's so exciting to have you here. And Alpha Stream is here too? Oh my gosh. All right. So I'm just, thank you so much for joining. I'm just explaining that I'm going through this as like you're, you're approaching this from a very first time um, uh, design perspective, because I'd like mostly for this stream to help new designers or people who are trying to homebrew creatures. And what we're designing right now is uh, it's called a Jubilee Cryptimander. We already established what some of the lore is behind this. So I'm going to go into my journal here so we can go back and revisit some of the lore here. So um, we determined that the Jubilee Cryptimander, it's a Cryptimander, so it's a salamander that has chameleon abilities. We already knew that, but what happened is there's these magical reagents who have been dumped in this cave called the Trash Pit, and so these reagents have created these mushrooms called Jubilee mushrooms, and that has had an environmental impact. So the insects are eating the mushrooms, the cryptomanders are eating the insects, and then the cryptomanders are transforming into these Jubilee cryptomanders. So, salamanders have cool abilities like, limb regeneration. They can climb walls. We also gave these cryptomanders camouflage ability because that's part of the cryptomander part of them. But in addition to that, because they have been affected by these mushrooms, they have euphoric spores. Um, we were thinking about possibly having a different stat block with a swarm of them. They have a heightened sense of smell. And then based on a little bit of quick research on the internet, um, discovered that cryptomanders have this trichromatic color vision that allows them to hunt for prey. And I'm picturing like Predator, like the movie, They also have dark vision and they're amphibious. So we were talking about these creatures having a possible tail whip that would have something to do with spores. One of the things I liked was uh, with the euphoric spores, they could um, cause adventurers to have this false sense of safety as they enter the trash pit, and then they can attack. And definitely some multi-attack and bite. Oh, and the one uh, the one thing that we talked about was having a reaction where they could split based on their whole limb regeneration. And so we have a I think it's going to be kind of a formidable monster. So so yeah, I am going to approach this from the perspective of a brand new game designer, and one of the things I'm going to do is just go through. Oh, one moment while my screen loads. Oh, technology. Um, I had this all loaded up, and now I have to go into D&D Beyond and search for it again. Just one moment here. I am going to go through the DMG to show you some of the tips that are in the DMG, and this really helped me out when I first started out um, with monster design. Here we go. All right, so this is on D&D Beyond. It is from the Dungeon Master's Guide, and one of the I think most valuable tips out of what they have to say in the DMG is just modifying a monster, reskinning a monster. Um, if you're just starting out as a game designer, this is a very helpful tip for homebrew as well. Um, so you go through it. You can take a one of the examples they have here is need a fiery phoenix. Take a giant eagle or rock and give it immunity to fire and allow it to deal fire damage with its attacks. And then switch weapons, adding a special trait. Um, but there's also really very helpful tables here on creating quick monster stats and what the expected challenge rating is for these creatures. So if you look through here, we've got monster stats by challenge rating, and it will give you all the relevant information that you need, which is fantastic. There's for the CR, the challenge rating, it's all listed here. What the proficiency bonus is, the armor class, uh, their hit points, their attack bonus, and then also the damage output. I think this is a crucial thing because um, I think the other stuff is easy to figure out based on hit die and things like that. But I think the damage per round is one thing that gets overlooked a lot. And then there's save DC. Um, what else can we say here? Um, So then they move on to creating a monster stat block, which is what we're going to be doing in a moment here. Um, and there was one other thing that I wanted to show here. Here, hit dice by size. So really important tidbit here because the monster size will determine how many hit die it has. And so like a tiny creature here would be a D4. Um, we're going with a small size one, so we're going to have a D6 for their hit die, and that determines how many hit points they have. Okay, so then another very handy tool online here. There are a couple of sites that, as a new designer, you can go to that have made use of the uh, oh my gosh, the Creative Commons um, SRD, um, the license to use D&D, essentially. So there are a couple sites. Some of them are better than others, but I just wanted to showcase a couple options here. So we've got one over here is called Phalandrus Monster Maker. You can go through um, this entire thing and enter in your new monster and then go through everything. It'll show you like saving throws, speed, skills, actions. This one doesn't do as much of the heavy lifting for you. I've found as this other one that I'm going to show as well. This one here is tetra-cube.com. It's a D&D stat block maker. This is very, very helpful for a brand new designer. It's also great even if you're like an intermediate designer who's still trying to make sure that the numbers make sense. Uh, Andy, that's so exciting. Yes, these tools are fantastic. And this one here, in particular, I've made use of just to um, make sure to check my math, basically, because that's not my forte. So this one here is really cool because you can go through, and I'm just going to scroll up here. Um, it has everything you need. So over here, like if we change this, we're going to change this to size small. Going to change this to, I think we're going to make it a beast. Um, it can even have armor type, hit dice. And so as I'm changing things here, let me just see. You can update the stat block here, and then it changes things for you. Even cooler is it's even got things like, let's see, we're going to have a uh, melee or ranged dexterity attack. Um, and then if you take, I hope you can see the screen. Um, so in here, it's actually got all the things that you need. You just need to, change what the reach is, the range, and then in this section right here, you just need to add in what the dice are for this attack, and then what type of damage it does. So again, this is just a really cool, very handy tool to have at your disposal. It it is only going to have the Creative Commons licensed. Can't see all the things are changing. Oh, okay. Here we go. So this over here, we'll see there's like, it has changed it. If you, oh no, I accidentally tapped on an ad. You'll see that the armor class, hit points, and hit points have changed based on what I did down here. Um, just by changing the size and and type of the creature. And and there's more that we can do here. There's, it has everything, but this is just a tool that I wanted to show right before we dove into the actual creation. Okay, thanks, Andy, for that feedback. Okay, so next things next, we're going to actually um, look at our. It is a lot to fit on one page. And I don't usually design on my iPad, but it's the easiest tool for me to use while I'm sort of designing this on stream. And so let's see. We are going to go into the stat blocks themselves. So we've got AC, hit points, uh, speed. Um, we already determined that the size was going to be small. Just move this down. Small, beast. Generally not going to talk about alignment here. High, socialist buy. Of course, it's the one day that you really wanted to see the screen. Yeah, uh, thankfully, you'll be able to watch this on video on demand, and I can also share the links. All right. So let's go in here again and um, we wanted to, sorry, I accidentally moved my screen over. So we wanted to have size small, limb regeneration, climbing walls, camo, spores. All right, so a couple things that we can definitely put in here are, oh, let's get the whole list. Hold on. Is there a monster form like a character player form? Um, yeah, there are in the Dungeon Master's Guide or Monster Manual, like the stat blocks. That's basically what we're building here. And um, on the website that I was showcasing, that is one of a number of online tools that help create stat blocks based on what's available in the Creative Commons license. So there's a whole bunch of um, monsters and races and all kinds of things that are available that you can just use and publish either as a third party publisher or if it's homebrew it's different, but if you're publishing something for public consumption and purchase, then you do need to use the Creative Commons stuff. And so these a couple of these tools are really great for that because they're only using Creative Commons Creative Commons content. Okay, so we're going to go back over here and reference here. So one other thing that I like doing is actually taking a look at some of the monsters that are available. So let's see. I brought up, this is the limitation of streaming this is that I'm not able to bring up too much of my too many screens at the same time. So I've got like a black pudding up so that we can take a look at its split ability because I think that is going to be important in informing how you would approach that as a reaction as well. And then let's see. Uh, so we want this creature. I'm not going to approach the CR quite yet. I'm going to see what kind of abilities we're going to put into this creature first. So we've got um, we need to add their, let's see, speed. They're going to have a walking speed and a climbing speed. Just as a reminder, this is all very rough notes, and the finalized item is going to go on my Patreon. Um, so I just want to show the whole process of going through all this. And then we need to write in here strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. Does it have damage immunities? Condition immunities. What are its senses? What else can we put in here? Languages. Oops. So it's going to have none for sure for the languages. CR, and then its proficiency bonus. Okay. And then, so what happens next here is its abilities. Um, and we're going to ensure that it has amphibious. And this is one of those things where, you know, it's part of the Creative Commons, and when you are creating your monster, you can go like, if you're making use of this tool here, let me just make sure it's on screen properly. So if you're making use of a tool like this, you can go in here, and it's really cool because if you, I hope you can see all of the screen here. There's like a huge drop down menu here of all the available options for abilities. And right here we have amphibious. Click on use preset, and then you can see um, using the way that they've coded it is the monster can breathe air and water. Now this in the square brackets MON, that is actually going to fill in um, with the creature name if we put the creature name up like here, if it will let me. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to put in Jubili Cryptimander. Done with that. And then when I hit update stat block, again, I'm just going to try to make sure that we've got this over here. Update stat block. Let's change the name. Oh, I didn't. I didn't add that ability here. There we go. Add the ability, and then update stat block. There we go. Amphibious. And you see that it has, instead of putting MON or monster, it has actually put in the name of the monster here. It's a really cool tool. So again, this is tetracube.com, tetra-cube.com. It's just, I really feel like it is an incredibly helpful tool when you're starting out. And I recommend that because a lot of it is math, right? Like there's so much math that is involved, and sometimes it, you know, it gets overwhelming for um, particularly if you're a new designer um, uh, whose strong point may or may not be math. Uh, for me, I tend to still use it just to check my math. um, so yeah, we can do a ton of stuff here with this tool, um, or a tool like it. This is something that I really wish would be on the D&D Beyond, and maybe they will have it eventually because I think it would be really neat. Right now on D&D Beyond, um, you're able to create your own homebrew creatures, but it's it's definitely relying on you having all of that knowledge already, or being able to cross-reference the Dungeon Master's Guide um, and figure out the math on your own. Whereas a tool like this makes it really helpful for dungeon masters at home, or people who are new to game design, to just be able to feel a little bit more confident about the math as you're doing it. All right, so we have amphibious here. One other thing I'm going to add, I'm just going to, you know, we're going to have actions here too. And then we're also going to have reactions. I'm realizing that an hour is not as much time as I thought it was going to be. So I just want to hit sort of like the highlights here. So reactions. This is another one where I think split is part of Creative Commons split as a reaction. Okay, so we can use the preset here again. And okay, this is a good example of something that is, we're actually going to have to make a change in. So it says here, when a monster that is medium or larger is subjected to lightning or slashing damage, it splits into 2 new monsters if it has at least 10 hit points. Each new monster has hit points equal to half of the original monsters rounded down. New monsters are 1 size smaller than the original. Now, in our case, we have a size small creature, so we're gonna have to change that. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that, GMD. The homebrew UI needs an overhaul. I hope it's coming with um, whatever their new tool is. I know that they were showcasing it at PAX U. I haven't heard anything about what the new tool actually looks like. I think AlphaStream, you got to playtest an early version, but I haven't heard anything about the latest version. I'm really, really hopeful because D&D Beyond has been, I feel like they've been doing a little bit more support. Like they just released alpha version of maps, which I've been using, which has been awesome. Um, but yeah, I think this is such a um, core feature of being a game master is not just using the content from the books, but being able to play around and do your own design with creatures. And so yeah, I'm hopeful. But for in the meantime, I'm going to make a change here. Where's my keyboard? All right. And I think we were going to just say that it was slashing damage. Oopsie. Okay, and then we're going to add this as a reaction. And again, this is just like a quick preview of how we're going to create this stat block. I'm going to update the stat block again, and now we see that we have reaction here of split. Once I get the stats in for the creature, we'll be able to figure out, how many hit points it actually needs to have in order to be able to split. What are some other key things that I wanted to put in here? I think I'm gonna maybe just ask chat, is there specific, is there anything specifically that you want me to sort of review here while I'm designing this? Because we only have like less than 30 minutes right now. And I know I am not going to be able to finish designing this in the time that we have left here. So we have split here. We're probably going to have a bite action. Was it tail whips that we wanted? Oh, the euphoric breath. That was something. I'm gonna just check here. I think that there is a creature with euphoric breath, but I don't know that it is a part of the Creative Commons Fairy Dragon, I think it is. It's part of the monster manual. So in this case, for the fairy dragon, we can take inspiration from this, but it's Euphoria Brass. It's recharges on 5 to 6. So that means if you roll a 5 or 6, the breath gets recharged. The dragon exhales a puff of euphoria gas at one creature within 5 feet of it. The target must succeed on a DC 11 wisdom saving throw, for 1 minute, the target can't take reactions and must roll a d6 at the start of each of its turn to determine its behavior during the turn. On a 1 to 4, the target takes no action. Sorry. Takes no action or bonus action and uses all of its movement to move in a random direction. On a 5 or 6, the target doesn't move, and the only thing it can do on its turn is make a DC 11 wisdom saving throw, ending the effect on itself on a success. And I will double check to make sure that this is not one that we could just use. Yeah, I agree, Alpha Stream. I like sort of conceptualizing things in writing. Um, and then moving on to the design phase. So a couple weeks ago, what we did in chat was actually create the lore for this monster, and then based on what chat wanted, I decided to do the stat block itself. Generally speaking, these game design labs have been, the intent has just been to be able to drop it into any game, but I figured because 5e is so popular, and people probably want to be able to know how to do this, it would be beneficial to just sort of walk through, you know, the messy process. My writing process is always very messy. Whether it's book, monsters, whatever, it's very messy. But from the chaos comes some fun things, I think. All right. So, oh, right. I was going to look up whether or not Euphoria Breath is a thing that we could just use or not. I don't think it is. But I think we could give it a breath weapon. Oops, went too far. Yeah. So our choice here is to, we have a couple breath weapon options. And the breath weapons are cone or line. And I feel like because it's spore-like, we're going to go with cone. Oh, the other thing that we can actually add here is camouflage, which is an ability. Use preset. Oh yeah. So we're gonna, oopsie. So I'm using an Apple Pencil, and sometimes it gets carried away. I'm not sure what we're gonna do with this one actually. Do we want it to be, you know what? I think I'm gonna just change this to chameleon. And here we go. Oops, again. Nope. Oh my gosh. Okay. Hide the keyboard. Okay. Here we go. So we're going to just change this to an ability. And we're giving this Jubili Cryptimander chameleon ability, and it has advantage on dexterity stealth checks made to hide. All right, and then we'll go back up here so that you can see how this looks. So we're getting you know, an increase in the stat block here. Some cool features for the Jubili Cryptimander, and let's see. We're thinking about, oh right, the euphoria, some sort of euphoric breath. So we'll give it a breath weapon here. And I was thinking cone because spores I don't feel like they would narratively just go out in a straight line. Okay. We're gonna change this. Nope, not breaths. Oh, please go back. Oh my gosh. Okay. Euphoric. At the same time, I don't really want to name it the same thing as something that already exists. Do we have like spore breath or something? Maybe jubilant breath. Here we go. Jubilant breath. All right, well, sometimes my pen works fantastic, and then other times it's just a mess. Okay, so we're going to give it a cone, a jubilant cone breath, recharges on 5 to 6. I think that's pretty good. Exhales spores. All right. Exhales spores. I don't think it can spread too far because it is a small creature, so maybe like a 10-foot cone. And maybe limit it to one creature. So maybe it's not even a cone. Maybe we're just going to make it, it exhales spores um, at one creature within 10 feet of it. Oh my gosh, this is frustrating. All right, here we go. All right, and then in this case, we actually need to go into making all the stats and everything in order to make this work and figure out what kinds of damage and saving throw a creature is going to have to make here. But for now, I'm just going to put this in here as an action. Yeah, an action. So then we can sort of rework what the breath actually does and that sort of thing. What else? We have like 10 minutes left here. Let's see. How about we take a look at the DMG and we can figure out what kind of what CR we want to make this creature. Oh no, are you reloading again? What's going on? Right. Okay, so we didn't actually create the base creature. Ordinarily, if we were doing this in real life, we would probably create the base creature first, the OG Cryptimander. Um, so I'm thinking that one of those creatures would have been under under one for a CR because they're mostly eat insects, right? And even if they could swarm, I don't think they would have um, be able to do very much damage. So we're looking at because they're wee little guys. um, so they could be anywhere from like a 0 to like an 8, 1/8 CR. And then for this one, I don't know, I maybe a 1, um, if that. However, if we want them to be able to swarm too, that's something else. These are more formidable because they are size small. They have all these other like wild abilities. Just gonna take a look here. Some inspiration. Like we've got a swarm of campestries. These are the cute little and animated mushrooms in Wild Beyond the Witchlight. There, a swarm of them is a 1. Um, I feel like a swarm would be bigger than that though, for a size small, um, size small Jubili Cryptimander. So I'm thinking maybe maybe around a 1 for this um, creature. Let's take a look at some inspiration again. Poisonous snake. Poisonous snake is only 1/8. Yeah. So I'm gonna go with a 1 for the CR, which means they have a proficiency bonus of +2. Armor class is 13. Hit points have to be are somewhere between 86 and 100. Attack bonus is +3. Damage per round, this is the most important thing here, is a 9 to a 14. And then if we created a swarm, um, it would be a higher CR, more damage output, and that sort of thing. So I can input a bunch of things here, and I feel like I am running out of time. So maybe what I'm going to do is ask for any questions that you might have in chat. Just as a reminder, all of this is going to go up on my Patreon. Um, I try to get it done before my next stream for Game Design Lab, so that you have it available for the next stream. Um, and all of my content is there. So my journal entries from my Monday solo RPG stream, and then all the Game Design Lab elements, final elements are placed there as well. So this was just sort of like a peek into some of the way that you can approach design, especially from a beginner perspective. I think that was the most important thing I wanted to do here, and maybe even going forward, because I think there's a ton of information that's available, but not all of it is always very approachable. Like I said, like in chat we mentioned that the UI for in D&D Beyond for Homebrew it is difficult. Like I feel like you have to have that knowledge going into game design versus or making your homebrew there versus being able to find tools that are helpful for people who just don't know what to do with that information from the Dungeon Master's Guide. So yeah, feel free to ping me in my Discord. Um, that's something, yeah, Andy, it is overwhelming. There's so many possible things, absolutely. But hopefully some of these tools um, have given you a little bit more insight into like some of the easier ways to approach it. Like I said, it's still a tool. It's like some of these online tools are still tools that I use, and I've been at this for, gosh, I don't even know how long. I think I started designing in 2016. Um, so it's, for the math part, it's definitely something that I still go back to just to make sure I'm doing the right thing. And occasionally I will reference the DMG to ensure, damage output or CR, things like that. Like you still go back um, as an intermediate designer. Um, Yeah, if you have any questions, so feel free to ask me. I will be, either in Patreon or Discord. And I really appreciate everyone who came to my game design lab. I hope to see you in the future. Thank you so much to the new chatters, AlphaStream and GMD. And I will see you possibly at the end of the week. I will be doing my Crafternoon stream on Friday. And then on Monday, I've got my solo RPG and back to do some game design on Wednesday again. All right. Thank you so much. I hope you have a really great week. Take care.